I think initially starting a podcast, it's been awesome. I expected it to grow slowly. Like people we already know that have shown up for us has been awesome. And then all the new people we've met that have taken a chance and coming on with us and talked to us. I remember being at WealthCon with you, Josh, and talking about the podcast and what it could be and what we thought it would be. You were guaranteeing you could get us to 100,000 followers by January 1st. We're back.
We're back. We're here.
We're back. We'll be back. And we're back. Hi, Jennifer.
So
So we're here and all of us are made it to this round table. And go ahead and hit us up with some topics, Josh.
By the way.
Oh, this is Investing RN podcast.
There it is.
We are 1 year into recording, which is crazy.
I knew we'd get here, but I also didn't think we'd get here. But I knew
we'd get here.
Consistency is one of our superpowers. Like if we believe in something, we know and we're consistent with it.
Too dumb to fail. Is that the thing?
Something like that. So if anybody listening has joined us for this ride and if you found any value, give us a like, give us a subscribe, share it with some of your friends because growing this has been harder than we thought.
So much harder. And if you're not sure what was happening there, that was actually the intro to the episode by our esteemed boss and leader of investments and life, Jen.
The same person. It's me.
Yes.
It is me. I am she.
I am
she. We thought we'd actually Colin was one that had that suggestion right before we started recording because this is our 1 year episode.
1 year and 1 day, right?
1 year and 1 day. I don't have my phone close by. Otherwise, I'd look at the date.
Yeah, I think it was the 20th. I'm pretty sure it was the 20th.
Whatever Tuesday was around this time.
Yes.
So we're recording on our anniversary.
Yes. And this will air. This is going to air next week. So like 5 days from now.
So for reference, it's November 21, 2024. So whatever we're referring to, just keep that date in mind as you're listening.
Yes, that's it. We got a few things on the docket to talk about today. First thing is just basically what it is like running a podcast for a year, what we thought it would look like and what it actually looks like.
And how many production companies we went through.
Enough.
Yeah, 11/21. Actually, it is exactly our 1 year anniversary.
So we are recording on the 1 year to the day. Cheers to that.
Cheers to that. And of course, it was an accident.
Of
course.
Yeah, we just couldn't record yesterday. So here we are today.
Okay. So what did you guys think it was going to look like doing a podcast for a year? What were your goals on day one of launch day?
All right, I'll start. Well, I'm
changing my answer.
Well, I was going to say, I think we kept going back and forth. Like I remember being at WealthCon with you, Josh, and talking about the podcast and what it could be and what we thought it would be. And this was, I want to say it was in October. It was our second WealthCon. So that would have been October, right? Because they're quarterly. So it was October. We hadn't launched yet. We had recorded some episodes. We were getting ready to launch in November. And you were guaranteeing you could get us to 100,000 followers by January 1st.
Oh my gosh. I forgot about that.
Did I say that?
You 100% said that. So
yeah, I'm so funny.
So that's
sometimes.
what I want to know. Where is our 100,000 followers?
So
do you want me to tell you why I thought that?
I would love for you.
Okay. So I thought we could do that because we are going to be posting on all platforms. So that's going to be YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, X, whatever else was out there. So that's 6 different platforms. So 100,000 divided by 6, whatever that is, basically on the average of each platform. I was still a lot. Yeah, definitely still a lot. But I was very into and I still am now, like into the collaboration. So like if we do a reel with one of our guests, we collaborate. So it shows the reel to our audience and to their audience. And the algorithm doesn't work quite as much as I thought it would. I thought that if you posted a reel, it would show it to your entire audience. That's clearly not the case. So
because you had so much experience in social media prior to this?
I don't think I ever claimed that. I just thought it was way easier than it is.
But you took the course though, Wealthy Creator.
I did. I took the course. He made it seem easy. He's also posted like 2,000 times. So
well, it's crazy too, because like he had no financial incentive to like encourage people to like take his course.
So that was an expensive course.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And
so
you
that
had
was
joined
my.
Instagram, right, for the first time?
No, he'd
I
been
joined
on it. He was
Instagram.
like Superman X.
Oh, that's right.
It was end of June last year when I came back to Instagram. I had one like back in college, never posted, never did anything. But end of June last year is when I kind of came back. We were actually preparing for our trip to Poland, and I was like, oh, this is going to be a great time to start back into Instagram because I'm traveling. People like that.
And you're like 3 months, you're like the whole summer, and you're like, I got this. I totally have Instagram dialed.
I posted every single day for a solid 2 months, and I saw a lot of growth, and that kind of motivated me. Come to find out, that was just people who already knew me. And they're like, oh, hey, look, Josh is on Instagram. Follow.
So anyways, back to like where I thought this would be. I think initially starting a podcast, I expected it to grow slowly. I expected like my thought, and I don't know what number I thought we would be at, but it was like 2 to 3 years before the thing really took off and was anything, reputable or notable.
The goal was to make money from it within 2 years. So we're only at year 1 and we've already made $3 on YouTube. So we're way past that goal.
Yeah. Check.
Yeah.
Next. So yeah, I mean it's essentially, I think it's right where I expected it to be initially, but then after you hyped me up, it's not where I was hyped up to believe it would be. But it's been great. And ultimately, I think like we've discussed this because it is costing us money to produce this podcast. I think I mentioned like the different production companies we've gone through. We've gone through 2.5 production. I don't know how that would work technically, like
including the 2 VAs that I was trying to manage myself, and that was a headache. I actually did that for, how long was that? 2 months, and that was not worth it. It was saving us a lot of money, but in the end, not worth it. I don't know, 10, 20 hours a week just trying to get this guy to edit our podcast. And when I went back, like thinking to myself, I could just literally do this myself in 4 hours or less. And I'm spending 10 hours plus trying to get this guy to do it. Oh my goodness.
It's definitely been a learning curve. And I know other people have in the meantime, like we know Brian Benji and Elaine, what's her, Scrubs and Stocks. She did the Scrubs and Stocks podcast. And I think they're self-producing there. So obviously there's cheaper ways to do this. None of us really had the proficiency or the time to manage a podcast or produce it or put it out there. So that's why we went the route we went. Yeah, there's other ways to do it. We did not do it the most affordable way. And because of that, like now we are obviously like, wanting this thing to sustain itself. But I think we've talked recently, and like as one of the main hosts, like I would, as long as it wasn't costing us too much money, I would just continue doing this forever. Cause like, I just love meeting and interacting with all these new people that we've met over the last year. And we've met a bunch of cool people. So for me, 100% worth it. And I look forward to continuing on.
I'm a very curious person. And I know early on we talked about these intermetrics, like profiles that we did about ourselves. And that was something that showed up on my profiles that I like to learn just for the sake of learning, not for any other reason. And so I do enjoy these.
Not
also.
For any practical reason.
Nope, just for the sake of learning and then forgetting it a week later. No, but I really enjoy meeting people and learning also. Talking to Colin and Jennifer is okay, I guess.
Yeah. Well, as the business side of things, I was like, me and Colin were just having this discussion a couple days ago.
We had a heart-to-heart in the car, and the windows were steaming up for all the wrong reasons.
What?
It was not like
that?
So okay, just for
need a little more backstory.
Is this like when this is like when I talked to your cousin about being shirtless with with his cousin? No. So we had dropped our daughter off at school, and we came home, and it's been raining up here where we're living, and our house doesn't have central heat, so our house is kind of cold.
Freezing right now.
Freezing is relative, but it's cold. And I'm cold, she's freezing, but and then Indy's like throwing the blankets off, so it's all relative. But we were sitting in the car and the heater was on and it was really warm, so we just continued to sit in the car after we'd already gotten home. But it's raining and it's cold outside, so the windows were getting all steamy, but like not in the Titanic like cool way, like just in like we're sitting in the car in our driveway. talking. And during that talk, we
were discussing the future of the podcast, because I know that you guys like are both finding your passion, chatting with other people in the industry and just meeting a lot of new people. And I'm kind of the one in the spreadsheets, and I'm like, okay, well, this doesn't make sense financially if it doesn't at some point pay for itself. And then for sure do it as long as you want. But I'm like, it needs to, we've been shouldering this. Thankfully the business can handle it. And yeah, we're working on arrangements, but
I think this just kind of goes back to like what we've said about real estate, like how Josh and I were having a lot of fun doing real estate, and then Jen came in.
No fun.
Ruined all the fun.
If you guys
now
have been
she's doing
around
that
for
to
long,
the podcast.
You know exactly how things run in our businesses. Jennifer needs money.
I'm sorry,
just
but
over here.
This is why we now have a profitable business.
Well, thanks a lot, Jennifer. We didn't need that from you.
I would say, has it been worth it? Absolutely. Has it been different? Somewhat. But like, do I want to continue doing this? Like 100%. Mm-hmm. Do not want to slow down. I don't want to speed up either. I just want to keep doing one episode a week.
Yeah, 2 episodes for how long was that? 3 months? That was a lot. And initially that was something that we did, or something that I did, because initially I was scheduling all the guests, and I thought it was going to be really difficult to find guests. And so I scheduled, I don't know how many people, 20, I think. And everybody said yes. And I do want to give a shout out to all of our initial guests, because I know they kind of did it as a favor. And we appreciate that, especially Sarah. She was our first ever episode.
Sarah Wild.
Sarah Wild. Yeah. If you guys don't follow her, go give her a follow. She's doing a lot of great stuff.
Wake surfing at 8.9 months pregnant.
Yeah, that was pretty wild.
Yeah. But yeah, so her, and there's a handful of other people that got us started, and so we appreciate that. I don't know where I was going with this, but
well, I mean, just as you're shouting people out, I mean, I think it's the people that have the friends and family, I guess friends and family, and people we already know that have shown up for us has been awesome. And then all the new people we've met that have I guess taken a chance and coming on with us and talk to us, it's been awesome. But just connecting with people we already know and meeting all these new people. I mean, it's I really feel like over the last year we've grown and built this somewhat of a community that we're now involved in, and it's really cool to see that, especially within the nursing world.
Yeah, it's very rewarding, and it just goes up from here.
And there's a lot of positivity. We've been everybody's trying to lift each other up within the nursing world. I mean, I know you always say collaboration over competition, and it very much feels like that's the attitude from a lot of the people we've interacted with. Everybody's so willing to help and willing to jump in if there's anything we're doing or questions we have, and it's been very positive in a profession that has a lot of negativity and a lot of
I was gonna say, I don't experience that on the actual workforce on the floor, but that's cool that we're connecting with those people outside of the hospital setting.
Well, I think that's why it's been so cool and so somewhat surprising, just because we've had, I'll say Jen's had a much different experience than probably you and I have in nursing, being a woman. It's been all positive outside of the hospital, and hopefully that will eventually lead to more positivity within the hospital.
Yeah, being part of the majority, so difficult at times. I'm just kidding. No, but I know, everybody knows there's a huge difference between gender acceptance, I guess, in the nursing community. That's what it seems like, at least.
I don't know. I don't know if
I think it's just more of there's a lot of hormones with the ladies, and I mean, I always love to work with the guys because it's usually 1,000 times less dramatic. So.
And we just don't care about anything except for the patients.
Exactly. So it can be chill. I mean, obviously some of my best friends I've met in nursing too. So it's just, I'm sure it's in every industry.
Best friends who are, by the way, female. So it's
yes,
not every, there's a lot of good, but so that's where it's at. So in a year from today, I would anticipate we will have 52 more episodes dropped at least. Mm-hmm. And
if you guys have any suggestions, let us know. We're open to ideas.
What do you guys want to hear?
What do you like? Do you like these hour-long episodes? You want something a little shorter? You want maybe 2 shorter ones per week? I don't know. We're open to anything. We're just having a good time trying to put out more content for you guys.
And if we're still here in a year, know that we're somewhat successful with it, because otherwise Jen would have shut us down.
Yeah. All right. Number 2 on the, I guess it's not a number. I made a few bullet points on what we were going to talk about today, because we go off on tangents like that last one we just did. So Trump is now president. What does that look like for us as a podcast, as real estate investors? Mostly as real estate investors. That's probably what it would affect the most. And
if you're only on audio, you're missing out on some
amazing that's been going around.
Trump dances that have been trending.
Yeah, so it affects us mostly in real estate. So one of the best things that we figured out is depreciation from the real estate assets, the cost segregation studies that we can do on our properties. Reminds me, actually, we have 2 more properties that we got this year that there's a little side note that we need to actually get Levi to do those on.
Montana, put that in the show notes.
Remind us. But yeah, the depreciation is amazing. Yeah. Amazing to the point where last year I didn't pay taxes legally.
Wow.
Legally.
Didn't legally pay taxes.
I didn't illegally. What?
Legally,
you guys know what I'm.
Legally,
I had enough.
Did not pay taxes. You paid.
I had enough depreciation to offset my earned income to where it was a wash.
Taxes within the writings of the law.
Let's put it this way. I partnered with the government and I did exactly what they requested of me to do, and they rewarded me in the way that they said they would.
And then in 20 years they're gonna. Well, so and that is
well, you do have to pay it at some point, right?
That is the caveat.
Yeah, I will pay it, but I'll pay it in 20 years.
Your children's children will pay it for you.
But $100,000 that I was, or let's just say $100,000 that I was supposed to pay last year, in 20 years, that's going to be like me paying $10,000 last year in taxes. So really, it's massive benefit.
But I mean, I think that's like the one thing that always gets kind of like glossed over really fast is like, yeah, you don't pay any taxes. It's like, well, you don't pay any taxes now, but it's a tax deferral strategy. It's not like it's not like a full tax evasion strategy. Like, we're not Wesley Snipes. We're just kicking it down the road a bit.
Yeah.
But it's been great.
So that something that Trump put in when he was last time in office was the 100% bonus depreciation in the first year. So if he brings that back, that would be amazing. However, if that does not come back, depreciation is still extremely powerful. You just have to span it out over your first 5 years instead of getting it all in year 1 year.
I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll see what interest rates do. Our hope is that they'll come down, just with Trump maybe being more pro-business than the other candidate, Kamala.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And that's something that I guess I didn't really realize how interest rates worked. I still don't fully understand how it works.
I don't think.
Yeah.
I mean,
I just asked the bank, hey, what are you guys offering? They're like, oh, it's up a little bit. Oh yeah. Oh man, I knew it would. I'm really, really bummed.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's like everybody's like, oh, Trump's this or Kamala that. And it's like, yeah, at the end of the day, it's a different branch. So
yeah, I think they have less control over interest rates than we thought, or than I originally thought, at least.
But if you feel like one is going to serve you more than, ultimately that's what it comes down to. I don't think people aren't voting for these candidates based on oh, this is Donald Trump is the most amazing person. He rehabilitated a pigeon that was injured, or it's just they're not you're voting because it's there's 2 candidates and you're which policies serve me better in terms of what I'm trying to achieve in life. And you might not agree with every last thing, but it's that's basically what it comes down
to. If there's ever a candidate that I agree 100% on everything, that's just never going to happen, is what I'm trying to say. There's never going to be a candidate where you agree 100% with them in every single way. And that's the case. That was the case this time too.
I don't mind Robert Kennedy being involved and potentially cleaning up all this nasty stuff that's in our food. I'm hoping that actually happens, because
that would be great. That freaks me out every time I start reading labels, and I have to go in cycles of trying to eat healthily because I get so anxious when I actually am paying attention to what we're eating and how everything's in plastic, and then everything you're cooking in is in toxin coated cookware, and I'm just oh my gosh, I just get really overwhelmed. So it would be nice if somebody is paying attention to that at a higher level.
I just eat what's in front of me, and I figured that my body's stronger than whatever I'm putting inside of it. I'll be fine. I'm basically
Risky.
Superman.
Well, it's like we got rid of our microwave a while back, and it wasn't necessarily like a health choice. It was more to do with the fact that we were living in an apartment.
Yeah, it kind of was.
It was partially a health choice, and it was partly a small counter space choice.
Yeah, that too.
But we got rid of it, and then we started using the oven to heat things up, and we're heating things up in aluminum, and then you find out, oh, aluminum causes cancer too. So
I know, we're like, oh, great.
I was just like, okay, well, I'm just gonna leave things out and let them like warm up,
and we're like heating them up in our
ambient
cookware that's not like safe.
Yeah, and then we get like the
okay.
non-stick cookware, and it's like non-stick cookware is cancer.
Well, I guess we're just eating cold chicken, salmonella and all.
Yeah, raw vegetables apparently is like the only way to go, unless it's spinach at a certain time, and then that has E. coli and all. So just build a strong body like Josh's that can just handle whatever you throw in, whatever trash you throw in, it can process. But I think one of the things that I, to be perfectly honest, did not fully understand was the tax on unrealized gains, and I don't know if that goes away completely now that.
So I don't think it was never actually policy. That was just something that she was running on to try to get taxes on the wealthy class.
Right. So like whether or not that would have ever panned out, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And whether or not that would have affected us, I don't know. But just the talk.
Supposedly it was only for people who held $100 million in assets.
And that's why I was concerned.
Which we're so close. We're only like $95 million away from that.
Yeah. But that could be any moment. One more deal.
But
one more 15 pad.
I knew that was way far off into our future, but I also knew that people who have that many assets know how to get out of taxes. And once that took place, taxes weren't going to come in as easily as they thought. And I knew it would trickle down to the upper middle class, which is somewhere where I would think that we fall into.
Back to Trump, the whole trickle effect is kind of interesting because it's like, he goes out there and says, oh, if John Deere moves to Mexico, I'm going to tax him 200% tariffs or whatever. That's his big thing. Tariffs. When you hear it, it sounds great. It's like, oh yeah, bring industry back to America, do this and that. But any company that is being tariffed is going to pass through those expenses to the consumer. So another thing that would probably trickle down to the middle class, aka us, would be these tariffs. So yeah, it's all very complex. I think at the end of the day, if you're good to people and you got a good group of people surrounding you and your everyday life is good, then
one thing that I think it was actually Alex, the guy, we're actually trying to get this guy on as a guest, but he said, I saw a thread, I think it was him, he said, I pay zero taxes when Trump is in office, I paid zero tax when Biden was in office, I'll pay zero taxes no matter who's in office next, because if you know the real estate game, there's real estate investors on both sides, and there's ways to get out of paying taxes and to do it legally in any situation. So as long as you know the game really well and you're a real estate investor, so it's a win for you.
For sure. And at the end of the day, invest in real estate. That is the end all be all.
We have an episode coming up. We already recorded this episode, but we have it coming up where he gives a lot of the negativity of being a real estate investor. But in the end of the episode, he's like, no, you definitely still need to. It's a very powerful wealth building strategy.
Yeah. No, it's all great. Yeah, I think we're plugging along on all fronts right now and just doing well. I think 2024 was I guess it was a challenging year. It was just a very busy kind of chaotic year for us, and it's not even over yet. But
it was more to do, I feel like, with personal.
Yeah, for sure.
It was personally a crazy year because we made a lot of lifestyle changes and moved. Then we also bought 2 mobile home parks close together. So as we were onboarding the second one, we still didn't have the first one dialed in.
Chronologically close together, not physically.
Not physically.
Which further complicated things.
And
those are our 2 largest parks.
2 largest parks and are the 2 least stabilized parks that we've purchased.
Yeah. Oh, it was just so much work. And we both were starting new jobs. I was like 5 days a week for a while trying to go through this stabilization. It was a nightmare, honestly.
I had a baby
for a minute.
around the same time.
You had a baby, that's right.
Yeah.
Around the same time.
It's going to spoil one of our later questions, but
all right. All right. Next bullet point kind of goes back to that first one, is growing a social media following, because I thought it was going to be really easy. Actually, we kind of did touch on that already. We don't have to really go back to that. It just happens to be way more difficult than I thought.
Ultimately, as it turns out, it's very difficult to organically grow a social media following.
Yeah, I did have the opportunity to buy 100,000 followers, but I figured that probably wasn't gonna be the goal that I originally set for ourselves.
Well, and I mean, I guess like the YouTube following, like some of the stuff we were doing there, it's like, you know, you try certain things and it's like, I don't know, it's a very tricky thing to figure out. I mean, obviously, like the people that are doing it very successfully, like, you know, hats off to them, because it's not easy.
I think there's also a lot of strategy involved. And I think when we had time to create content, we just wanted to create content and not actually do the prep and planning and make sure that was actually some useful information, or it was targeting the right audience, or we knew how to get to the right audience. So I think there was just a lot more like planning that we needed to do that was not involved. And so I think for a while, we're just throwing stuff out, seeing what worked. And part of strategy
That was part
is
of the
that.
strategy.
Yeah. But I don't know.
Come
A
to
year
find out,
later.
the stuff that I like to throw at the wall, Jennifer likes to clean off the wall really quickly.
Yeah, mostly.
Well, I think at one point, well, you know, and we were just talking to some, I think it was the same interview that you alluded to earlier, but this guy went viral, and he went viral for something that ended up being very controversial. And I think that's something that's been a struggle for us, because obviously we want to expand our reach. We want to grow our audience. We want to get our message out to as many people, nurses specifically, as possible. And the easiest way to go viral or to blow up on social media is to do something controversial. But ultimately, our end goal is not to just be Instagram famous or
Right.
some viral sensation. Our goal is to actually grow a community, you know, educate, and
Yeah, and it would be a shame to like alienate some people that we could potentially help, or bring into like investing. And I mean, investing has for sure changed our lives, and
yeah.
I don't doubt that it will change the lives of whoever starts doing that from listening to our podcast or learning from our guests. So yeah, it would just be really sad to alienate people based off of something controversial that has nothing to do with like the message we're sharing.
Yeah. So that's been tough. I think just growing, like I said, organically and in a wholesome way that's, you know, leads people back to our initial message of just building a secure financial future, giving yourself options, and essentially building a positive community within nursing. Doing it that way is difficult and slow, apparently.
All right. What would you say to somebody who's trying to have time freedom and they want to start a business?
No, I'm just kidding.
Don't. Well, I mean, kind of, because I mean, we started a business and it's anything but time free.
Currently.
Yeah.
I would say which we have not done well ourselves all the time, but working backwards, like what is the actual goal? Because Colin has to remind me of that a lot. Sometimes I get very into these lofty goals, and then Colin's like, well, what do you actually want? Like, do you want to be like this businesswoman who's always working and that's your thing? I'm like, well, not really. Honestly, my best life would be to live like in Europe half the year and be here half the year. And obviously that eliminates a lot of things that I would do. So it's like, if actual traveling is your goal, there are some businesses that you would immediately eliminate because they tie you to one place.
Yeah. And I think on the opposite token, initially I was looking at it more that way. And Jen, obviously, I think we've talked about it before. Have we talked about your financial goals for the business?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Okay, so
500,000 per month.
Yeah,
each?
per month,
casually.
Yeah, casual, 500,000 per month.
But also thinking big about business, I still don't think that's a crazy goal. But
it's not. But like, give us 30 years to get there, though.
30 years.
You got 4 more years, and then you're cut. And I will have you know, Josh, you've almost been fired recently. Not really by any fault of your own.
Recently? Tell me more.
Well, it's just the cycle. It was time. Jennifer was due to fire somebody. She can't fire me because she's got to live with me.
That's not true. I don't know what you're talking about.
That's what I was afraid of the most when you came into the fold.
What?
I knew. I was like, by default, my vote doesn't matter anymore because Colin, like, you guys are married.
That's not true. We definitely don't always
we
agree.
We don't agree.
But you're not gonna like fire him like that.
No,
to your point.
But if I don't agree with him, I will not side with him if I don't agree with him.
And she would fire both of us if she could.
That is true. No, I would not.
Like,
okay, no, you guys are in the place that you need, but I need you also to do many more things.
business-wise, she would fire both of us. But like, just in life, she can't because you're her brother. You have like a no fire clause in your contract, and we've talked through what it would look like if I were to go away, and
no,
it's not.
I have not.
I'm just saying in life.
Oh,
like if something happened to, we just got into this thing the other day because I want new tires for my truck. I don't know why
we talk about that. That's super weird.
I wanted new tires for my truck, so I was being super dramatic. I was like, well, what if, because it's raining a bunch, I was like, so, okay, if I crash and die, then you're just going to be on your own to figure all this out.
And then I decided it was way too much work to remarry.
Yeah.
And I would just
that's why I would rather new tires.
And I decided, just please get your tires because that's just way too much work for me right now. I can't
handle another man right now.
Literally.
Yeah. So that's why I'm still here.
So,
but anyway, did you get new tires? You got new tires already?
Not yet, but I will be soon.
But he will. Yeah, because can't deal with that.
There was a tangent. I don't even know what we were talking about.
That's too funny though. Okay, so we're actually currently talking about the long game. That was the next bullet point.
Yeah, the long game. Oh, so the long game would be, well, I would say the long game for us is now that, so this last 2024, it's kind of funny because I have to remind myself, and we do these personal financial statements that the banks require. Actually, the banks require it. I've neglected it for the last 6 months, but they ask for it. And in looking at it, just, it's kind of nice to be forced to do that annually, because otherwise we don't just sit down and look at how we've grown in the last year. And it's pretty cool to see from, July of 2023 to, I think I was looking at it in August, how much we'd grown. And it's really cool to see that. So this year, as we've been so busy and everything, I'm starting to get anxious. Like, we need a new acquisition. We need another acquisition. It's been a while, but in the meantime, we bought one park right at the end of 2023 and 2 parks since then. We've brought on a new property manager, so we've got a lot going on. So things are moving, but I definitely, now that things have settled a little bit, I would like to ramp back up the new acquisitions. So
yeah, all good stuff. All good stuff. And I use the same analogy every time. Like, the wider a foundation you can build, the taller you can make the building. And that feels like we're just building wider and wider and wider because we expect Jennifer to make us build this massive skyscraper at some point.
Whether you like it or not, we're gonna have a really big business.
Well, we interviewed somebody a couple weeks ago, Stephanie Betters, and sounds like her and her husband are doing very well in real estate. In addition to her creating an app software for property management. But she said how it was about 5 or 6 years of them building this company and getting nothing from it, investing all their money into it, and how scary it was. And they had young kids as well. And then finally, it finally took off after about 5 or 6 years. And now 10 years later, it's this, well-oiled machine cranking out a decent amount of profit for them.
And not all businesses end like that, which is, that's risky. Building a business is not risk-free, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah. So, that was the question. Do you build a business for time freedom?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, no, don't.
Well, or just be realistic about it.
Yeah, just be realistic about it.
It's going to take, years to...
You're either going to have less money or less time until your business is thriving.
Yeah.
One of those two. Or both.
And there are definitely outliers, and those outliers are all on social media yelling that at you. So it's very hard to not think that will be you, but that's a terrible way to plan. Yeah, just plan on it being years, and not to be super down.
But especially as we talk to nurses as our primary audience, you have this gift of a career in some ways that allows you to have all this free time that most people don't, just based on the fact that you can work three days a week and be full time, and that gives you a decent amount of time and flexibility to build something outside of that. So hang on. I think that's the thing too that we've learned. There was one exception in all the interviews we've done in this last year. but every other person we interviewed kept their RN license either as a backup or continued working as a nurse while they built something new. And so, take it or leave it, but that's what the in our research, that's what we found.
A little operational update for Townsend. If you've seen our social media on Instagram, we posted a few videos of us bringing in a new manufactured house into one of our parks here in Wisconsin. So this is a little operational update for you guys and for Jennifer, because she was asking about it. So we have a new home. What else?
Well, this is the first new home we've brought into a park.
Yeah.
So
this is exciting.
First any home. We haven't brought any new used homes.
Well, yeah, right. I just mean like new home in general, like new used whatever. This is the first home we've brought into a park. Everything else we've bought. We've flipped a couple homes that were already in place, but this is the first time we've brought a home into a park, and it has been quite a process.
Yeah, with permits, that was quite a handful of tasks. Mostly, so if it's something I had done before, not a big deal. It's mostly because it's like brand new. I don't really understand the language. It's like contracting stuff. And
so is that all through the town, like the county? I mean,
so I had to do 2 permits. One was with the county, and one was with I can't remember. There was 2 of them though. One was county, one was town, I believe, township. Yep. And then we had to, because we're bringing in a new home, it requires a full-on slab. So I had to have that completely excavated, I guess, full slab poured. Oh, I had to get permission from the city to add to our existing utilities because they had to do like some study to make sure that it wasn't like overpopulated for the septic and for the well.
Yeah, because I think the original survey or whatever only showed 1 septic system, but there are 2. And we had to go back and look through our documents from our septic and well maintenance company to show that there are, in fact, 2 septic systems.
Which we knew there were because there are, just because there actually are.
Yeah. But we only know that because the previous owner told us that there are. And the septic company is charging us to drain 2. So we didn't have documentation.
Yeah, that was a process. Some back and forth there. And then, the home was brought in yesterday. Met it there. Kind of a fun experience to watch it drive in. They backed it in, just parked it up on the slab. I got some respect for that semi truck who backed it in perfectly with like 1.5 inches on each edge of the home.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Pretty impressed with that.
I can't even park my 24-foot trailer straight in the driveway. So that's pretty good.
And now, we just and we have this lined up ready to go, but we just need to hook up plumbing, electricity, and then we have another company coming in to do the anchoring, the blocking, adding stairs. That's a requirement for all mobile homes, is to have 2 sets of stairs or 2 entryways into the house in case one is blocked in case of an emergency. So we have 2 stairs going in, and then skirting. Up here in Wisconsin, kind of beneficial to have insulated skirting, so we're going to get that, and it's a little pricier than the other one, but it is what it is. We're doing it right.
Apparently you can't just have doors that open to a 6-foot drop. You have to actually put stairs.
That's frowned upon.
I think
that's what it looks like.
Couple takeaways that I would say through this process was the first guy that we were dealing with to pour the slab, I spoke to him probably a year or more ago asking about a slab, and he just said, yeah, when you're ready, when you got a home lined up, let me know and I'll pour a slab. And I just kind of left it at that. And again, like, we have not always been the best with our due diligence and just in any aspect of our business. Definitely room for improvement there. But as it turned out, there was a decent amount of excavation that needed to be done and prior to the slab being poured. And I was dealing with one contractor, and to your permit point, not having been through this process before, I didn't realize you could just hire a general contractor similar to like if you're building a house or anything like that would take care of all the permits and all that whole process that Josh was handling. And so that would have been tremendously easier. It would have cost us a lot more, but it would have been a lot easier to just hand it over to somebody else.
Well,
not even a lot more. Like these permits are about $400 each, and then they just upcharge it like 10-20%. So that not even that much more for them to pull the permits for us.
But now that you've done it, like could you do it again quickly?
No, he's going to pay for it.
All right.
I'm definitely going to get somebody else to do it.
Okay.
I had to. So this one guy,
He had
can't
to
be
fill out.
involved.
He had to
City.
fill out
You
like
can't be
2
involved in the
forms
work.
by hand.
I literally had to call the guy who actually like, and it's a good thing our parks are in like small town Wisconsin, because the guy that I was supposed to talk to actually answered his cell phone and is like making jokes with me, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you actually want to put this there?" Basically walked through the entire permit with me, after I tried to do it myself a few times, and then when he got it, he would like call me back and told me all the things that I did wrong, even though I was talking to him while I was filling it out. And he's like, yeah, just handwrite a piece of paper, what you need, what you want, send it to me, and I'll like fix it for you. And so that's what it actually ended up being.
It's great. But so that was interesting. The costs, we did not anticipate as much as it would cost to actually bring a new home in. We actually, to this day, do not know yet what it's going to cost us. I mean, we have a rough idea of what it's going to cost, but we haven't.
That's great to hear.
Well, you don't know until you do it. So we but we're just waiting on the final invoices from the person that did the excavation, the person that did the slab, and then we need to get the final quote on what the skirting and the stairs and all that will cost. But ultimately, it's like it's a scary thing. It was like our first eviction. It's so scary until you do it, but once you've done it, it's like, okay, well now we know what it is, and going forward, it's not scary. And the last thing I think I'd say about that is I get not teased, but you guys are always getting on me for wanting to maintain these relationships and visit with the previous owners and be friends with them and this and that.
I don't tease you for that.
You 100% do. Yeah, you and Josh both.
I definitely do. Yeah, I'm not going to deny it.
You 100% do. But it was the previous owner of this mobile home park who ended up essentially saving us and doing the excavation for us and had all the contacts and was able to get it all done in time, because we had ordered these mobile homes from the manufacturer and they were coming off the line sometime in November, whether the slab was ready or not. And we would have been paying $25 a day per home to store them until the slab was ready. But because we had this relationship, this ongoing relationship with the previous seller, who's actually seller financed the park to us, he got in there and he's a contractor, and he got in there and did all this work for us and handled it. And it was huge. That made a huge difference in the whole process. So yeah, take that, you two, with your anti-socialism. No, that's not right.
I mean,
I'm also a professional socialist.
A professional relationship, yes, but like Colin wants to like go out to eat and like actually hang out and play some pickleball with
I
these owners.
I 100%. I like people. That's why I like doing this podcast. What did it say? Never met a stranger.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, except for the stranger I talked to for 49 minutes today on a patient. I had to do a patient callback today, and anyways.
So how was your stroke?
No, it wasn't stroke stuff. It was like patient satisfaction.
I would be the absolute worst person on that job.
You would never be asked to do that. Yeah.
I could do it. I will do a better job than Jennifer, but not as good as Colin.
You didn't have a great time? Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, bye.
Maybe eat healthier so you don't have to come into the hospital.
Jen would the thing with Jen is she gets to a certain point where she's like, what do they say? Seeing red, seeing black, something like that. And she can't think straight. So then she just says stuff that doesn't make any sense. She gets so upset that it's like,
no, I have a hard time. I have very low empathy for people that are not taking care of themselves. Like I can definitely feel for somebody who is like taking care of themselves and doing all the right things, but the people that we see are doing all the wrong things, and then they're upset about the way that their outcome is. And I'm like, did you expect something else? Like, I don't know what to talk to you about.
Florence,
I could tell you the same thing that everybody tells you, but you already know that.
Yeah. So and I'm sorry if it sounds not nice. Anyways,
that's why Jen is in charge of hiring and firing.
That's why I'm behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And spreadsheets, because
yes.
You can't hurt a spreadsheet's feelings.
No, you can't. That's right.
I didn't like the way you addressed me today.
Oh man! All right, the last thing we have on here is one of us. You guys do it. I've been moderating this whole time, but I feel like this is more of a thing for you guys to do. Me? Okay. All right, so this is more of a question to the audience, those of you guys who are listening. One of us on this call right now is pregnant, and we were going to actually have you guys reach out and DM us.
Yeah, DM us. We're not
which one you think it is.
We're not going to say it on this episode, but we will respond to DMs, or a week from the drop of this episode, we will let you know on the following. Sometime on Instagram after this episode drops, we'll let you know who it is.
Let you know. But yeah, one of us is
with child.
Is with child.
Yeah. Is halfway with child. Halfway
and
baked.
That's it. And so that's gonna change things. Colin's gonna have to do way more work.
As the birthing person.
Right.
Oh, I mean, it could be Colin.
Yeah.
It could be Colin.
Okay.
Somebody's gonna have to do more work
Somebody's
between the three of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's gonna change a few things in the business in the next year. But one of us has set up some stuff to be prepared for the situation, and we've made some hires, and a lot of help, a lot of business building has been happening to be prepared for a situation like this.
But nobody is getting maternity or paternity leave, so just know that.
Yeah, that's a tough part of business building.
Yep.
We'll see about that. We'll see.
One of the things we talked about for 2025 as a goal for us as a group, which one of our pregnancies may affect, is getting out into the nursing community more. So if there are any nursing conferences or meetups or events that any of you could recommend, we're all for it. Shout it out somewhere, somehow. Yeah. Reach out to us.
We'll go, and we'd like to set up a little meetup somewhere for like a small intimate group of 50 to 100,000 all the followers.
Or even if you're doing something cool, I mean, I would if you're doing an event somewhere, I'll show up. I mean, if I can, I would be happy to show up to anything. I don't know. Yeah. I like meeting people, so. But anyways, we're trying to get out there more, hit the streets, I guess. I don't know. We don't want to hit the streets. That's not right. we're not trying to work the streets. We're like specific like nursing conferences. But yeah, so for 2025, I'd say that's one of our goals. Obviously growing our real estate business. Maybe some new hires. Hopefully our real estate business grows to the point where we need to hire some more people. Within the podcast and the Investing RN community, maybe actually growing a community, like a proper community where we can get together with people more often and like, interact with some people. So lot to come in the next year.
Yeah. Host some small meetups across the country. Several per year would be ideal.
Yeah.
But yeah. If you guys would be open to something like that and you'd want to actually join, DM us.
Yeah, and we probably should have said this at the beginning when people were still listening. So,
yeah,
that's all right. 20% have made it this far.
Yeah, Mom, Dad.
Thank you.
If you guys want to host. All right.
Yeah, that's it.
Well,
thanks for sticking around for this journey.
Happy 1 year anniversary.